Hi guys, I'm Maggie. I'm going to be talking about parental involvement in early childhood education. I'm going to go into some specific things, some specific details or aspects of parental involvement that I found to be important or growing within today's day and age, stuff like that. So, to start off, what is parental involvement? So, I am looking at parental involvement as two big categories pretty much. Um, and that would be parental support and parental participation in activities. So, parental support, parental involvement can be defined as activities that parents conduct at home or in school settings to directly or indirectly support their child's learning. So, basically, a parent being the support system when it comes to their child's learning and supporting them with that. And then the second one, parental participation in activities. This can include anything from attending general school meetings to attending parent teacher conferences. It also can include taking part in things like class events, like holiday parties or project showcases that the children are putting on within the classroom. Those are some ways that parents can participate in activities, and also volunteering in the school or school-wide events, and then serving on school committees, things like that are just a couple of the ways that parents can stay involved in their child's education. So why is parental involvement so important? Again, there are so many reasons why parental involvement is so important. These are just the four that I'm going to touch on and that I found to be some of the most important. So, number one, it extends the teaching and learning of students. So, by having parents involved in the day to day learning of a student, the child is able to continue learning at home by getting help on schoolwork or talking with their parent, and furthering their understanding of whatever they're learning beyond the classroom. So that's really important because parents play the role of another educator. They help their child to continue learning even at home, not just at school. The second one, it creates positive experiences and attitudes for students. So when children are able to bring what they're learning at school home to their families, they're able to create a positive connection between that side of their life, their education and their school life, to their personal lives and their families, and that builds a positive connection between the two, and it's going to make them happier about school. It's going to make them more willing and more happy to do it, honestly. And then the third one, it helps children feel supported and motivated, obviously. When students see and feel their parents getting involved in any way in their schooling, it's going to make them feel more supported. It's going to make them feel like their parents are supporting them as well as their teachers, and so they can support themselves and their friends can support them, and the learning experience overall is just, they're going to feel so supported and better about it, and motivated. They're going to be more motivated to do their schoolwork and to go to school every day. And then the fourth one, children will perform better. This connects right back to the last point. Students will automatically perform better when they feel that support and when they're motivated, whether it's growing developmentally, whether it's hitting milestones that they need to hit, or whether it's getting good grades, things like that. Parental involvement is so important for all of those things. So, parental involvement in child's education can affect a lot of things. Again, this list can go on and on. These are just a few of the things that I wanted to touch on. So, the first being the student's attitude towards school. So, obviously, if a child sees their parent or parents being more involved in their education, more involved in their schooling, they're going to have a more positive attitude towards school. They're going to be happier to do it. They're going to be happy to be there every day and feel that support. Whereas if their parents are, less involved, they might they might see their parents as not caring so much, so they don't have to care so much. So they're not going to have that positive attitude. They might just have an attitude. They might have a bad attitude. Overall, the parental involvement is going to affect the attitude of the child in school. The second one being classroom conduct. So the way that the child conducts themselves in the classroom. Obviously, if a parent or parents are more involved, the student will conduct themselves well in the classroom. They're going to be positive. They're going to want to do well. They're going to participate more. They're going to try harder, and their mood's going to be better. Whereas if there's no parental involvement from either sides for the child, they might conduct themselves in the classroom a little bit more poorly. They might have bad behavior, lashing out. They might just have negative, not want to learn. They won't conduct themselves as good as a student who has even a little bit of parental involvement. And the next one being self-esteem. So how the child looks on themselves, their confidence levels. If their parents are more involved in making them feel good about school, they're going to be more confident in school, and they're going to be more confident in themselves in the way that they're performing. Whereas if there's no parental involvement, then they might not see so much confidence in their schooling. They might not have the confidence. They might not want to try. They won't be doing as well, or as proud of themselves. And then the last one, motivation. So their desire or willingness to learn and perform well in school is going to be affected by if the parents are more involved or versus if the parents are less involved. They're going to be more motivated. They're going to be less motivated. So involving parents in early childhood education. These are just a few ways that educators can support the parents of their students to get involved if they're not already involved, or to become more involved if they are already involved, and just make sure that that parental involvement is going strong. So the first one is to make sure parents know you and your staff. Parents should know the educators on a name-to-name basis. They should know you. They should feel that you're easy to approach. They should feel comfortable bringing their questions, concerns, goals for their child to you. It really builds that bond between the teacher and the parents, which is super important in the child's success within education. And the second one, encouraging parents to volunteer. So volunteering for parents is not only a way for them to get involved, but it should also be it should be fun for them. Whatever they're getting involved with should be fun for them to experience themselves and with their child. And overall, just volunteering is a great way for parents to be involved and to feel good about it. And the third one, always making students' progress available for viewing to parents. So this keeps them in the loop. It lets them know that they're also in charge of their child's education. It's not just the teacher who is in charge of their learning. They get to know where their child is at all times, how they're doing, and therefore they can get involved in that as much as they see fit. The next one, providing helpful resources to parents. So this lets the parents know that you care, and it also gives them the opportunity to utilize some of the support systems that the child may need that they might not have even known that they need, or they might not have even known that they could get. So an educator providing the resources to the parents keeps them involved, and it keeps everybody making sure that the student is going to succeed the way that they deserve to. The next one is communication. So communicating and educating parents with passion. This is super important. I mean, communication is key, and face-to-face communication is obviously best. That communication with parents about the students and their child's growth, or them stepping forward in something, or even hitting a milestone, is really important and a positive way to connect with the parent and to let them know things that are going on and have them 100% involved while you're still 100% involved, and let them know that you care and that they deserve to care about those things too. And then the last one, recommending activities to do at home with their child. So recommending activities at home that build on learning during the day or during the week, the lessons and the things that the children are learning. If they can bring that home and do some of those things or do activities with their parents, it allows them to show them what they're learning. It allows them to learn beyond the classroom with their parents, and that's going to make the parents happy. It's going to make the child/student happy, and it's going to make the teacher happy. And overall, that's what we want. So next, technology to engage parents. This is more of a recent way that parents have been getting involved with their child's education. I think it's great. In recent years, technology has created new ways for teachers to engage in two-way communications with parents of their students. So this is, forums that teachers can message parents on a daily basis on things that the child is learning that day, or pictures of what they're doing, or letting them know what happened that day at school, how they're doing, how their grades are, concerns, questions. So for a parent that's more busy, that might be at work all day, it's a great way for them to check in and be able to still have a little bit of involvement even when they can't be 100% involved at that moment. And technology is just going to keep growing, and it's only going to create more and more ways for the parents to be involved, which is fantastic. So, understanding the power of parental involvement, and this is according to the National Association for the Education of Young Children. And this is an article that I found on their site by Donna Kirkwood. All the information is right there from 2016, and these are just a couple things that I found and I thought were really important. So she wrote, as their children's first teachers, parents have an amazing opportunity to nurture their children's growth and development and to advocate for their education. And many parents want to be involved in their children's education. I realized early in my teaching career, however, that families often face obstacles to engaging in school experience. So this goes back to how important it is for educators to be giving the parents the resources, for giving them the knowledge and showing them how to get involved if they're not already, or if they are and they want to be more involved. These are just some other highlights from the article that I found to be really important and that I wanted to mention. So she said, when parents do not feel comfortable in the school setting, they are less likely to support and participate in school events or speak to their child's teacher or principal about their concerns or goals for their child. And this is really important because parents, again, need to be so comfortable and able to walk up to an educator or a principal and let them know their concerns or their goals. And if they don't feel comfortable, they're most likely not going to do that, and that is not going to aid the success in the student. On the second one, I've learned that many parents want to be involved in their child's education but may lack the confidence and knowledge to do so effectively. So for the most part, parents do want to be involved even when they're not showing it. That could be due to the lack of confidence. So it's the educator's job, it's the school's job to make sure that they have the confidence and they're comfortable to do that, and they know how to do that and do that effectively. And then the last one, with guidance and support, parents can confidently take on their role as their child's first teacher and biggest advocate and become partners with teachers. It's a powerful connection that can make all the difference for children, parents, and educators. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I just thought that it was a great quote, and it's completely true. This is just a quick clip for you guys to watch on parental involvement. To make sure my link works. So I just thought that that clip had a lot of really great information jam packed into like 2 minutes, and a lot of great tips and information about parental involvement. So, the male father involvement in early childhood education. Typically, when we think of or look at parental involvement in a child's education, we think of it coming from the mother first, or the mother figure, and not so typically the fathers. When mothers and fathers are both involved in a child's schooling and education, the child is more likely to succeed. So, in two parent families, where fathers are highly involved in children's schooling as well as the mother, the students are more likely to get good grades and enjoy school, than in families where fathers have low involvement. Some more about that. The U.S. News and World Report wrote that more frequent father engagement in a child's literacy and education results in higher achievement levels in reading and math for the child. So it is proven that more involvement from the father figure is better for the achievement of students. So, just a couple ways that educators can foster father or male parental figure involvement in early childhood education. So, the first one, maintain a fatherly friendly environment. A welcoming environment for all parents is very important in a school setting, with hello signs all over, or just making sure that everyone feels welcome into the area in which their child is learning, or even just verbally with the teacher. A welcoming environment is super important for not only everybody, but also specifically the father figure, because they're not as likely to become more involved on their own. The second one is to request that both parents attend school or parent teacher conference meetings. Obviously, this can't always be possible, but when possible, making both parents feel like they're equally as important is so important for parental involvement and for the um, succession of the child in their education. Um, Involving the father in discussions concerning the child um, is really a great way to make the dad feel like they're involved too and that they should be involved too. And the third one is searching for opportunities to include fathers in school activities. Father figures tend to need a little bit more encouragement to become involved with their child's education. So, encouraging them to attend school events or even just observe the classroom that their child is learning in. Even things like having a father night where all the children can come to the classroom with their fathers and show them, what they're doing and their classroom, and getting them involved and bringing them into that part of their world. It's all about comfort. So father figures need to feel comfortable to get themselves involved in the environment just as any other parent would. So, some other situations that can affect parental involvement and the success of the student. Again, these are just a couple that I'm including. Obviously, there are so many more, but a parent's educational background. So, you might not know that a parent or both parents don't have as high of an education as you do, or maybe they didn't get their high school diploma. They might not feel like they have a good enough education to help their child to get involved with their child's schooling. So that's important to keep in mind when it comes to parental involvement. Also, the lack of time. Parents can be really busy. They can have really busy jobs. They can be working overnights. They can have a lack of time to be involved with their students' learning. So that's another important factor to keep in mind when it comes to thinking about parental involvement and trying to help them get involved. Obviously, separated or divorced parents makes it really difficult for both parents to be together and both really involved in the student's learning. And then step parents or legal guardians, same thing. Obviously, that that has a huge effect on who's going to be involved in the child's education. So those are all really important things to keep in mind about parental involvement and how that might affect the child and the succession of the child. So just a broad overview of parental involvement. Parental involvement refers to a situation where parents are directly and indirectly involved in the education of their children. They're there to support them, they're there to help them learn and to continue their learning. They involve themselves and are involved by the school and teachers in the learning process of their children, and they fulfill their duties as parents in making sure that their child is assisted in the process of learning as much as they possibly can be. It really is the job of a parent to be concerned with the child's learning and to take part in it and to help them succeed in that. It's not just the teacher's job to make sure that the student is going to succeed in education. Children of all ages benefit from parental involvement. It doesn't matter if you're preschool or a senior in high school. It's important for a child and a student to feel like their parents care, to feel like their parents are involved. Going back to everything I just said, for all of those reasons, it's gonna lead to the success of a child and keep them from feeling unmotivated, feeling unsupported, and having a bad attitude towards school. The more parents get involved, the more successful the students will be. And there are plenty of ways to get involved, not just the ones that I've mentioned, but so many more that they can do to be involved in their child's education and schooling. And then even more ways that educators can encourage parents and motivate them to be involved as well. Sometimes parents might need that little bit of push. They're not going to do it on their own. So parental involvement isn't something that's just going to happen, but since it's so important, we as educators need to learn how to get them involved and how to keep them involved. And I think that's one of the biggest factors, one of the biggest reasons why parental involvement isn't across all schools, across all classes and all students. So I hope you found all this information helpful, and thanks so much for listening.